Linear games don't waste your time with bloated maps or endless filler. Every chapter, fight, and set piece is there for a reason. Today, we're counting down 22 of the best linear games you should play right now. Subscribe, ring the bell, and stick around, because one game near the top might start an argument. Let's go. The Last of Us Part 2. This is the one. The game that splits rooms, ends friendships, and floods comment sections faster than almost anything in modern gaming. And we're putting it right here, because love it or hate it, The Last of Us Part 2 is one of the most daring linear adventures ever made. It shocks you from the very first hours and never lets up. You follow Ellie on a journey that's unpredictable, brutal, and constantly willing to make you uncomfortable, with a rhythm that keeps you permanently on edge. Naughty Dog's craft is almost frightening here. The detail, the performances, the way it makes you feel like you're actually surviving an apocalypse rather than watching one. It's long, it's heavy, and some of its swings won't land for everyone. But that's the price of a game this fearless. And every bit of that emotional ambush depends on the linear shape. A sprawling open world hands you escape routes, but this story needs you trapped in its choices, unable to look away from what it's doing to you. It's a guided gut punch, start to finish.
Come there!
She's pinned down!
Skylar! Holy...
007 First Light. You're out of bullets. Again. There's one guard standing between you and the exit, so you snatch a glass bottle off the table, hurl it at his skull, close the gap, and shove him clean over a railing. And somehow, you've never felt more like James Bond in your life. That's the trick IO Interactive pulled off in 007 First Light, the first Bond game we've gotten in over a decade. You play a younger 007 freshly recruited by MI6 in a slick third-person adventure that feels like Hitman blended with Uncharted. Most missions drop you into a crowded room, a gala, a party, and let you talk, sneak, and improvise your way into the spaces you're not supposed to reach. Light a trash can on fire to lift a stranger's invitation. Hack a laptop to crack open a path, and because ammo is always scarce, every fight turns into pure improvisation. A clever guy simulator where the environment itself is the real weapon. None of that lands in an open world. The spycraft only works because every single room is built by hand to make you feel cunning. So, is this the Bond game we've waited 15 years for?
Over there! He's looking for cover! He's got him!
Uncharted 4. A Thief's End. Two people sit across a table eating dinner, talking, no guns, no explosions, no chase, and somehow it's one of the most quietly gripping scenes in the whole adventure. That's the magic of Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, a game that feels completely different and almost exactly the same. This is Nathan Drake's final ride, and it trades some of the series' wall-to-wall bombast for something with more weight. Real characters, real stakes, a story that makes you care before it makes you cheer. The set pieces are still here, that Madagascar jeep chase tearing through mud as you swing a grappling hook and yank an enemy off his feet, but they're spread out now, paced with a steadier hand so the human moments can breathe. It opens up slightly, letting you explore those driving stretches, but make no mistake, this is still a tightly authored, globe-trotting ride. And that control is exactly why the pacing lands, and every location feels handcrafted rather than scattered across a map. Add Troy Baker as Drake's brother Sam, and the emotional core is set.
Here, take this! No!
Pragmata. You drop a robot's shield, line up the shot, and out of the corner of your eye, a second one is already lunging at your back. That's the beautiful tension running through every fight in Pragmata, Capcom's brand new sci-fi gamble. Not a remake, not a sequel, an actual new idea, which feels rarer than it should these days. You're Hugh, a spaceman sent to a quiet research base on the moon, except nobody's home and the machines have turned murderous. So you team up with Diana, a little android girl riding on your back, and here's where it clicks. While you aim and shoot like Isaac in Dead Space, Diana hacks enemies in real time. a puzzle you solve mid-firefight to crack their shields before the window slams shut. Shoot and hack at the same moment, ammo bleeding away, robots closing in. It's far more strategic than the chaos lets on. But the heart of it is quieter than that. It's the way Hugh and Diana slowly start to like each other, this small warm bond glowing in the cold dark of space. That's only possible because the game never wanders. It's tight, clean, every mechanic earning its place. No bloat to pad the runtime.
There's something coming out of... Those antennas are in the way!
Are they blocking your hack?
Hi-Fi Rush. The whole world runs on rhythm, the gears, the pistons, the enemies, even the trash blowing past pulses to the beat, and the second you sync your attacks to it, the game lights up like a concert. That electric, toe-tapping joy is Hi-Fi Rush, and it shadow dropped out of nowhere with zero warning, like a gift nobody asked for and everybody needed. It's a hack and slash where timing your hits to the music isn't just for show, it makes you hit harder, chain longer, and turns every boss fight into a choreographed set piece that feels like the level is dancing with you. The art style snaps with cartoon energy, the cast is genuinely funny, and the whole thing radiates a kind of confidence you rarely feel anymore. And it's pure, unapologetic linear design. A level-based ride, cut and dried, the way these games used to be made with nothing padding it out and no map to clutter the rhythm. Just stage after stage of color and sound and momentum. There's a quiet bittersweetness to it now, knowing the road its studio walked afterward, which only makes the joy hit a little deeper. So did this one get your foot tapping? Resident Evil Requiem. You're creeping down a black hallway as Grace, heart in your throat, resources scraped to nothing, and then the game cuts to Leon Kennedy doing the single coolest thing you've ever watched him do, and you realize you're somehow playing two games at once. That's the wild swing of Resident Evil Requiem, the 9th mainline entry and a kind of greatest hits album for the whole series. It hands you everything. The slow, suffocating first-person dread of Resident Evil 7 through new FBI agent Grace, and the over-the-shoulder, kick-him-in-the-teeth action of the RE4 remake through Leon, who now swings an axe that parries, finishes, and frankly makes him a little overpowered. You can even flip both between first and third person, but the contrast is the magic. 1 minute you're learning every claustrophobic inch of a room, conserving bottles to distract a horde. The next, you're a superhero. There's a new blood crafting system, a fully loaded weapon upgrade screen, and scares hidden in genuinely clever places. And all of it holds together because it's a linear ride. Authored, paced, never sprawling, so two completely opposite tones can share one game without the whole thing collapsing. Silent Hill 2. Your wife died 3 years ago. Then a letter arrives written in her hand, asking you to meet her in a town you both used to love. So you go, even though every part of you knows you shouldn't. That quiet, dread-soaked premise pulls you into the Silent Hill 2 remake, and against all odds, it actually honors the 2001 game so many of us still hold sacred. You're James Sunderland, walking into a fog-drowned town where reality bends and grief takes physical, monstrous shape. The genius is the darkness. Your flashlight is weak and flickering, turning even wide rooms claustrophobic, and the game loves making you walk down a long black hallway toward a sound you can hear but can't see, your nerve draining with every step. Play it at night, lights off, sound up, and it works. The town is bigger now, but it's expanded with intent, not padding. Every corridor tightening the screw rather than filling a map, which is exactly what a linear horror needs. It doesn't replace the original, it's a new way to feel why we loved it. So here's the eternal fight. Did the remake do Silent Hill 2 justice, or is the original untouchable? A Plague Tale: Innocence. Her name is Amisha. The boy clutching her hand is her little brother Hugo, and between them and safety is a writhing, screaming ocean of rats that strips a man to bone in seconds. That image, two kids against a plague-rotted world, is the whole desperate soul of A Plague Tale: Innocence. You're not a soldier. You're a teenage girl with a sling and a prayer, escorting your sick brother through 14th century France, while soldiers hunt you and the dark swallows everything not touched by fire. So you sneak, you scramble, you solve frantic little puzzles to part the rats with torchlight, always one mistake away from losing everything. And that fragility is exactly why the tight, guided path hits so hard. A sprawling open map would hand you room to breathe, but this story needs you cornered, scared, clinging to one fragile life. The bond between brother and sister is the engine, and it's devastating. The sequel, Requiem, takes that same heartbreak and goes bigger, but it all starts here, in the mud and the screaming. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. You roll into a fight as Star-Lord, but you're not just shooting. You're shouting orders, rallying a squad of misfits mid-battle, and somehow herding this dysfunctional family into actually working together. That chaotic team energy is the surprise charm of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the game everyone wrote off on sight and almost nobody saw coming. While the big superhero franchises chase open worlds, this one keeps it refreshingly simple. A level-based ride where you control Peter Quill directly and bark commands to the rest of the crew, blasting through gorgeous alien worlds steeped in proper comic book weirdness. But the real hook is the heart, the banter, the squabbles, the quiet moments where this found family actually earns the name. It dives deeper on these characters than you'd ever expect, and it builds to an ending that genuinely lands. That focus is the payoff of a linear shape. Every planet, every set piece, every emotional beat is placed to keep the story tight and moving, never diluted across a map.
Spread out!
Just blew him up!
Send it their way, Drax! Deadliest whoop! You want to tell us what's going on with Contractia?
Don't think they're gonna give us a tour, Peter!
Throw that, Drax! It's like a fruit fly. I can't swat him!
Shoot the energy discs on their chest!
They're too sparking fidgeting!
Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus. Nazi flags hang over an occupied America, and you're strapped to a wheelchair gunning down soldiers in a courthouse before the game has even let you stand up. That unhinged swing for the fences energy is Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus, and it goes places almost nobody else would dare. You're BJ Blazkowicz, a hulking action hero archetype with a surprising amount of soul, fighting a resistance against a Nazi regime that won World War II, and the game is written like a comic book come to life, lurching from horror to heartbreak to absolute lunacy without ever flinching. One minute it's brutal and intimate, the next it's so gloriously over the top you're laughing in disbelief. The shooting is fast and punchy, but it's the storytelling swings that stick, the moments so bold you can't believe a big budget game went there. And that boldness needs a linear spine to work. This is a tightly paced, handcrafted ride where every wild tonal shift is placed for maximum impact, something a sprawling open map would dilute into noise. It trusts its own madness completely.
Hallo! Kommandant Mannheimer! Hören Sie mich?
Sekiro shadows die twice. Hesitation is defeat. 2 words and they rewire the way you hold a controller, because in this game you don't dodge and wait for an opening, you stand your ground, read the rhythm, and clash steel until one of you breaks. That's the brutal poetry of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, from software at their most focused and arguably their most punishing. There's no character creator here, no build to grind, no co-op buddy to hide behind. You are the wolf, a shinobi with a set identity and a death wish, carving through a mythic feudal Japan that throws something new at you almost every hour. New enemies, new bosses, new mind-bending mechanics. Combat becomes a deadly dance of posture and timing, where blocking isn't safety, it's an attack, and every duel feels like it's measuring your nerve as much as your reflexes. And because this is the most linear thing From has ever made, the difficulty curve is sculpted with intent, a relentless gauntlet pulling you forward, not an open map letting you wander off to overlevel and dodge the challenge. It wants you sharp. Mafia: The Old Country. A young boy is dragged out of a sulfur mine in chains, half-starved, with nothing to his name but a will to survive, and from that gutter, a Sicilian crime saga begins. That's the opening of Mafia: The Old Country, and it has the patience and weight of prestige television, not a video game. Set in the hills of early 1900s Sicily, you play Enzo Favara, a runaway who falls under the protection of a powerful Don, swept into a world of horseback rides, blood feuds, and lovingly crafted cutscenes. It's a slow burn, it's a full 3 hours before you even hold a gun. But the writing carries it, with characters you'll love and loathe at once, and a story that's soulful in a way the genre rarely reaches. Here's the part that matters for us though. There's an open world map, horses to ride, roads to drive, and the developers deliberately kept it linear. Mission after mission, because story is what this series does best. They watched open world bloat drag Mafia 3 down and they cut it out entirely. That restraint is the thesis of this whole video. So, does a focused, story-first crime drama still pull you in? Sound off below.
Drive him out!
Devil May Cry 5. Style isn't a bonus here, it's the entire point. The difference between surviving a fight and turning it into a performance worth an SSS rank. That obsession with looking impossibly cool is what makes Devil May Cry 5 such a pure rush. There's no open world to pad it out, no map to clutter, just level after level of demons, combos, and 3 completely different characters with their own deep combat systems. Nero and his snap-off mechanical arms, the mysterious V who commands monsters from a distance, and Dante, a walking toy box of weapons and styles you can swap through mid-air without ever touching the ground. The depth is staggering. You could pour 100 hours into mastering a single character and still find new tricks. But the beauty is that the game meets you wherever you are, whether you're mashing through it for fun or chasing that flawless, stylish run. That's the freedom linear design buys. A tight, level-based gauntlet that exists purely to hand you a stage and dare you to show off, with nothing in the way but enemies and your own skill ceiling. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. The voices are back, but everything around them has changed. Sharper, heavier, rendered with a fidelity that makes you lean closer to the screen, half convinced you're watching something filmed rather than played. That leap is Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and where the first game asked a quiet, terrifying question, this one answers it on a scale that's hard to believe. You're Senua again, journeying into a brutal, mythic Iceland, and the studio clearly poured everything into making you feel present. The binaural voices still circling your skull, the landscapes vast and oppressive, the faces so detailed they cross into uncanny. It's deliberately slow, almost a held breath, more concerned with dread and atmosphere than constant action. And that's exactly the debate it sparks. Is this a game or an interactive film? But that restraint is only possible because it's so tightly authored. Every frame composed, every beat paced to the second, the kind of control no open map could ever allow. It's a sensory experience first, a story second, and it commits to that completely.
Remember what they did to you. How your village burned.
We cut our tracks. Blood fills the
Resident Evil 4. A nameless village in rural Spain, a chainsaw revving somewhere behind you, and a horde of glassy-eyed locals closing in from every door and window. And there's no time to stop, only to keep moving. That relentless momentum is what makes the Resident Evil 4 remake the blueprint nearly every third-person shooter since has quietly copied. You're Leon Kennedy, sent to rescue the president's daughter, and the genius is that the game almost never lets you breathe. It's constantly shoving you into a new scenario, a new horror, a new desperate stand, escalating until you're white-knuckling the controller. The gunplay is crunchy and satisfying, the inventory Tetris is its own quiet thrill, and the merchant's still lurking with a deal. And yes, you backtrack and explore, but you're always pushed forward toward the objective because this is a linear ride at its core. Briskly paced, handcrafted, every set piece placed to keep the pressure climbing in a way an open map could never sustain. It rewrote the rulebook once, and the remake proves the formula still hits.
Stay here.
What? Okay.
Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart. You step through a glowing tear in reality and you're somewhere else entirely. A whole new world. No loading screen, no wait, the jump happening as fast as you can think it. That instant dimension hopping is the pure joy machine at the center of Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, and it's the bright, beating heart this list needs between all the dread and the bloodshed. It's an action platformer that doesn't ask much of you except to have a blast, and it delivers a gorgeous galaxy-trotting adventure packed with wild gadgets and even wilder guns. The kind of game where the spectacle never stops grinning at you. It introduces Rivet, a new Lombax who actually earns her place rather than feeling forced in, and the story has more warmth than the candy-colored surface lets on. Yes, you hop between planets, but this is still a guided ride from start to finish. A crafted adventure that uses its linear shape to keep the pacing tight and the set pieces landing, never sprawling out into busywork. It's proof that linear doesn't mean grim. Sometimes it just means fun, distilled.
If they get away, we may lose them entirely.
Going as fast as I can! There's some troopers here who really want to see them go! Great! Now they're sending in dropships too?
Ratchet and Kit must be quite valuable.
Sifu, you die and you don't get a checkpoint. You get older. One life lost and your fighter ages a year, hair graying, body slowing, every mistake permanently written onto your face. That single brilliant idea is what makes Sifu unlike anything else, a kung fu brawler where mortality is the mechanic. You're chasing revenge through a handful of handcrafted levels, fists against an army, and the genius is how aging marries perfectly to the theme. Every death is a trade-off, buying you progress at the cost of your future. Die too often and you're an old master with one foot in the grave, hitting harder but breaking faster. The combat is razor-sharp, brutal, and endlessly rewarding once it clicks, built around a few tight stages you'll replay until you can flow through them like water. And that focus is the point. There's no open world to dilute it, just a lean, deliberate gauntlet that respects your time by making every single run mean something. Strip away the dying and the aging, and it's still a collection of great levels and unforgettable boss fights. Nothing out there feels quite like it.
Who in the fuck are you? You'll regret that. No freaking way! Stop him for fuck's sake!
Dishonored 2. The walls are moving. Floors rise. Staircases fold into the ceiling. Entire rooms rearrange themselves around you as you watch. And you're standing dead center, scrambling to keep up. That's the Clockwork Mansion, and it's the kind of sequence that makes Dishonored 2. The immersive sim peak we don't get often enough. You play as Corvo or Emily, each with their own supernatural toolkit, dropped into objectives you can crack open however you want. Go full ghost and never be seen, or tear through like a vengeful storm. It's freedom within a frame, and that's the whole trick. This is still a focused beginning-to-end adventure, not a sprawling map, which is exactly why its levels can be these dense, intricate puzzle boxes engineered down to the last detail. The other showstopper, a crack in the slab, hands you a device to flip between past and present in real time, solving the level across 2 timelines at once. No open world could afford to build something this handcrafted, this deliberate. Every inch of Karnaca is placed with purpose.
As a response to violent crime and foreign interference in our affairs, travel between districts is restricted to those carrying the appropriate permits.
Let me know next time you
Moving between home and work. Any attempts to hinder the Grand Guard in their enforcement duties will be met with the exercise of force. Any complaints as to the behavior of the Grand Guard should be addressed to the nearest guardsman.
Mafia Definitive Edition. Tommy Angelo was just a cab driver until the wrong fare on the wrong night pulled him into a world he could never climb back out of, and you ride his whole rise and fall like a tragedy you already know the ending to. That's Mafia Definitive Edition, and here's the trick that makes it the perfect partner to the old country. It looks like an open-world city game, and it absolutely isn't. Yes, you can drive the streets of a gorgeous 1930s town, but that whole city is set dressing, a backdrop for a completely linear mission-by-mission crime story. It's a rags-to-riches tale as old as the genre itself, a man rising through the ranks until he flies too close to the sun, and it's told with prestige polish. Charismatic characters, sharp shootouts, and there's nothing quite like a Tommy gun echoing through a hotel ballroom. The remake respected its source like it mattered, and placed next to the old country, the lesson rings twice. One game built a whole city just to frame a straight-line story, the other kept its open map deliberately on rails, both because this series knows that focus is its soul.
We found him. Suspect on foot.
You really want to go?
Calling all cars. We need more men immediately. Officers in Little Italy reporting they've lost sight. If you see him, let me know. Officers report suspect found. Get on him, please.
Just warning you.
Dead Space. The lights flicker, event groans somewhere above you, and you tighten your grip, because on the Ishimura, every shadow has teeth. That creeping, total dread is what makes the Dead Space remake about as pure as survival horror gets. You're Isaac Clarke, an engineer who boarded a mining ship to find his girlfriend and walked straight into a nightmare, and the genius is in how the game forces you to fight. You don't aim for the head, you aim for the limbs, severing arms and legs with industrial tools while these things skitter toward you in the dark. Ammo is scarce, your inventory is tight, and panic does most of the killing. The remake makes the whole ship one connected, dread-soaked space you slowly come to know, but it never loses the thread. This is a linear descent, a haunted house with a single corridor leading you deeper into the horror, room by room, scare by earned scare. No sprawling map could build pressure like this because the moment you can run anywhere, fear has somewhere to leak out. Here it has nowhere to go but into you. Psychonauts 2. Every level is a different person's mind, so the rules change the second you step inside one. A world built from anxiety, a stage shaped like a panic attack, a board game played across someone's guilt. That boundless creativity is the gift of Psychonauts 2, the kind of bright, weird, wildly imaginative adventure we're lucky to still get. You're Raz, a young psychic agent diving into damaged minds to set them right, and because each level is a literal headspace, the design goes completely off the leash, platforming through ideas no realistic setting could ever justify. But under all the color and comedy is real heart. This game handles mental health with a tenderness that sneaks up on you, finding genuine empathy in the middle of all the cartoon chaos. It's a touch more open than some on this list, but it's still a crafted level-by-level journey, each mind a self-contained set piece tuned for pacing and surprise, exactly the kind of authored variety a sprawling map would flatten out. Equal parts funny, strange, and quietly moving. Alien Isolation, you round a corner expecting nothing, and there's a xenomorph already in the room with you. Not scripted, not on a timer, just hunting. So you hold your breath, kill your motion tracker, and pray it wanders the other way. That suffocating helplessness is the entire engine of Alien Isolation, still the only game that has ever truly nailed what those movies feel like. You're Amanda Ripley, stranded on a decaying space station with almost nothing to fight back with. A flamethrower that only buys you seconds, a motion tracker that's as likely to give you away as save you. And the alien learns. It adapts to your tricks, so the panic never dulls, even hours deep. There's no army of enemies, no power fantasy waiting to kick in. There's one perfect predator and you, and a series of dark corridors where every footstep is a gamble. That's why linear is the whole point here. The dread only works because the station is built to trap you on a knife's edge, with no open map to flee into and no escape hatch to break the tension. It is exhausting in the best possible way. Did this one have you whispering at your screen, begging the alien to just walk away?